They say jealousy can make a person forget they're human. And in Zainab's case, jealousy didn't just steal her happiness. It nearly stole her life. Everything started in a quiet neighborhood where Mr. Adewale and his wife Mario lived as a small, happy family. Their home wasn't the richest, but it was warm. The kind of house where laughter sat comfortably on the couch and peace slept in every corner. They had one child at the time, a beautiful baby girl named Zainab. Mr. Adewale loved that little girl beyond words, mostly because she looked so much like Mario. Anytime he carried her, he would smile and whisper, "My little sunflower." Mr. Adewale worked as a truck driver. He moved goods across different states, long journeys that sometimes kept him away for weeks. But each time he returned, he behaved like a man who had been starving and finally found food. He would carry Zainab around the compound, kiss Mario's forehead, and spend every spare minute at home like nothing else mattered. Life was steady. Simple. Beautiful. Until tragedy walked in. One day, Mario went into labor for their second child. At first, everyone thought it would be normal. But complications came like a sudden storm. Nurses rushed. Doctors shouted instructions. Minutes turned into painful hours. Then the doctor came out with the kind of face that doesn't bring good news. Mario didn't make it. When Mr. Adewale heard it, he collapsed like his bones had melted. His cry that day was not just grief, it was the sound of a life breaking. Zainab was only 2 years old. She didn't understand death, but she understood absence. Every morning, she would toddle to her mother's room, knock softly, and whisper, "Mama, it's me." When no one answered, she would cry until her father carried her away and tried to distract her with food, stories, and forced smiles. But parenting alone was heavy. Mr. Adewale's job kept taking him away, and he was drowning, working to survive while trying not to let his daughter become an orphan in a living home. His mother, Mama Ayabo, came to stay with them for a while. She tried her best, but she could see her son was losing himself. One evening, she sat him down and said, "My son, you need help. Zainab needs a mother figure. Not to replace Mario, but to care for this child when you are on the road." At first, Mr. Adewale refused. The idea of another woman in the house felt like betrayal. But months passed. Zainab needed attention. The home needed structure. And Mr. Adewale needed someone he could trust to watch his child when he was gone. That was how Busy entered the story. Mama Ayabo introduced Busy, young, quiet, and from Ido in Oyo State. She seemed respectful. She smiled gently. She spoke politely. At the beginning, Busy treated Zainab like her own. She braided her hair, bought her small biscuits, played with her in the evenings. Neighbors even praised her. But something slowly started rotting inside Busy. She noticed how deeply Mr. Adewale adored Zainab. How he hugged her first when he came back from trips. How he called her pet names. How he laughed freely only when Zainab was near. And in Busy's heart, a poisonous thought began to grow. What if he never loves my own children like that? Some months later, Busy became pregnant, with twin girls. She was proud, glowing, walking around the compound as if pregnancy was a trophy. When she gave birth, the compound celebrated. People danced. Neighbors brought gifts. Everyone came to greet. The twins were named Amoka and Holima. Mr. Adewale was happy. He loved all his children. He carried the twins too, bought things for them too, and tried to be a good father. But Zainab still held a special place in his heart. She was his first child, and the only piece of Mario still alive in his eyes. And that made Busy's jealousy explode. The moment Mr. Adewale traveled for work, Busy's kindness disappeared like smoke. She began to turn Zainab into a housemaid. Zainab was forced to wake before dawn to wash plates, sweep, mop, wash clothes, especially the twins' uniforms, while Busy sat comfortably pressing her phone and laughing at videos. Food became punishment. Busy cooked for Amoka and Holima, but Zainab would stand at the door swallowing saliva, waiting for leftovers. Sometimes she got nothing. She went to school hungry. No lunchbox. No snack. Nothing. At school, during break time, Zainab would sit quietly while other children ate. Her stomach would rumble loud enough that even classmates heard it, but she kept her head down, ashamed. One afternoon, her teacher noticed. Zainab, why don't you ever bring food? Your sisters always have lunch. Are you okay? Zainab lowered her head and stayed silent. The teacher understood something wasn't right and reported it. That evening, Mr. Adewale called from the road. Busy. They said Zainab doesn't eat in school. They said she's getting thin. What is happening? Busy's voice turned sweet like honey. Oh dear, she doesn't like carrying food. She says she prefers to eat well in the morning and read during break. Mr. Adewale believed her. Because whenever he was around, Busy performed kindness like an actress. She served Zainab food in front of him. She smiled. She pretended. But the moment the call ended, Busy's face changed. She screamed Zainab's name. Zainab ran out trembling. So you went to tell your school I don't feed you? You want to spoil my name? Ma. I didn't. Shut up. Who is your mother? Am I your dead mother? Before Zainab could understand the cruelty, Busy grabbed the broom and beat her mercilessly until Zainab's hands bled. Amoka and Holima stood at the door laughing. Then Busy shouted, "You will not eat for 3 days." That night, Zainab cried quietly into her pillow, afraid to tell her father, because she truly believed Busy could kill her if she talked. On Saturday, the torture continued. After Zainab mopped the sitting room, Amoka deliberately poured juice on the floor just to watch Zainab clean again. Later, Zainab sat behind the house for 1 minute to rest because her body was shaking from hunger. Then, splash. Busy poured a bucket of cold water on her. Are you mad? Sleeping. Finish your chores. Still soaked, shivering, Busy sent her to the market. Neighbors saw it. They looked away. People like peace too much to fight for truth. When Zainab returned, Busy cooked, served herself and her twins, then locked the pot away. Zainab stood by the doorway watching them eat like a starving child watching a feast through glass. After they finished, Zainab washed plates. She was so weak she could barely stand. She saw Halima didn't finish her food. Zainab scraped the tiny crumbs and ate them quickly, then drank water until her belly felt heavy, pretending she had eaten. Years passed. Busy's wickedness didn't reduce, it increased. Zainab grew into a quiet, soft-spoken, beautiful teenager, but she was never allowed to shine. Busy made sure of it. Zainab worked in Busy's fabric shop as a sales girl. She received no salary. Every day she arranged fabrics, swept, greeted customers. Amoka and Holima sat comfortably gossiping and scrolling, treating Zainab like she was nobody. Customers loved Zainab, she was gentle and respectful. One afternoon, a handsome young man entered the shop. Everything about him looked like wealth, his perfume, his wristwatch, his calm confidence. His eyes met Zainab's, and he froze. Busy noticed immediately and rushed forward, sharp and territorial. The man bought fabric, then pointed at Zainab. Please, madam, can I speak to your daughter? Busy scoffed. She's not my daughter. She dragged Amoka and Holima forward like prizes, but the man frowned. Not them. I mean the lady arranging fabrics. Busy snapped. She's busy. The man left, but he returned the next day, when Busy and the twins were out. He introduced himself. My name is Chinedu. I wanted to talk yesterday. Zainab spoke quietly. She's my stepmother. Chinedu understood instantly. They talked. He asked for her number. Zainab admitted softly. I don't have a phone. Chinedu was shocked. A girl her age, no phone. He promised to buy her one. The next day, a dispatch rider came with a package for Zainab. Busy snatched it like a thief. She opened it and found a brand new phone. Her jealousy turned into rage. So you're sleeping around and collecting gifts from customers. She slapped Zainab twice, pushed her down, and beat her again until Zainab couldn't even defend herself. Meanwhile, Chinedu kept coming back, asking for Zainab. Busy lied each time. She's not around. Sometimes she forced Zainab to hide under the table. But one day, Chinedu said clearly, "I want to marry her. My intentions are pure." Busy's mouth responded before her brain could stop it. "No, you can't." Chinedu looked confused. Busy quickly corrected herself, pretending. "You must ask if she wants you." She called Zainab outside. Zainab spoke with Chinedu and gave him her home address so he could meet her family. For the first time, Zainab's heart felt hope. That night, Zainab smiled on her bed for the first time in years. Her father was away on a long delivery trip to Kano. Zainab couldn't wait for him to return. He would be happy. Then, unexpectedly, a knock came on her door. Nobody ever knocked. They barged in. Busy entered with a strange smile. "My dear Zainab, I want to ask you for a favor. If you leave, who will help me? My daughters can't do anything." Then she handed Zainab a phone. "Call Chinedu. Tell him you can't marry him. Tell him to marry Amoka or Halima instead." Zainab's heart stopped. "I can't lie. I want to marry him." Busy's eyes turned dark. So you have wings now. Think overnight. By morning you will see the other side of me." Zainab cried all night. In the morning, after chores, she ran to Auntie Nkechi's house, a kind neighbor, and begged for her phone. She called her father and told him everything about Chinedu and marriage. Mr. Adewale was excited and promised to return by the weekend to meet the young man. Zainab walked home with joy that blinded her to danger. That night, as Zainab slept, she felt something hot explode on her face. She screamed. She jumped up burning. Amoka and Halima were there laughing while Busy poured boiling hot water on her face and body. Zainab ran blindly out, but it was too late. Her skin burned. Her eyes blurred. She collapsed and passed out. She woke up hours later in the hospital, wrapped in bandages. One eye couldn't open. Pain lived inside her bones. Then her father rushed in, crying. He left everything and returned from Kano the moment he heard. Busy followed behind, falling dramatically to the floor. "Oh God! How could this happen to my daughter?" Zainab stared at her, shocked. Mr. Adewale asked. "What happened?" Busy lied without blinking. The electric kettle exploded. Hot water splashed on her. Zainab tried to protest. But Busy quickly added. "The doctor said medication can cause memory loss, she won't remember clearly." Mr. Adewale, grieving, shocked, confused, believed Busy. Zainab stayed in the hospital for weeks. Nurses cleaned her wounds. The pain was constant. Finally, the day came to remove bandages. The doctor handed her a mirror. When she saw herself, she broke. Her face had burn patches. Scarred, stiff, uneven. She didn't recognize her reflection. She cried until her chest hurt. And then she overheard worse news. Chinedu cancelled the marriage. He didn't visit. He didn't call. He vanished. Zainab left the hospital covering her face with a scarf, returning to the same house that had destroyed her. She became quiet. Withdrawn. Like a shadow. One afternoon, she heard celebration in the sitting room. She peeped and froze. Chinedu was there, dressed traditionally, beside Amoka. It was their marriage introduction. Zainab collapsed. Busy had destroyed her face, stolen her chance, and handed it to her own daughter. Still, her father believed the kettle story. Soon after, Mr. Adewale traveled again. Busy entered Zainab's room. "You can't hide forever. Go and get a job. And don't come to my shop with that face, you'll scare customers." Then she added with a wicked smile. "Amoka is pregnant." Zainab went out to look for work, rejected everywhere. Under a roadside tree, an elderly woman approached her and said, My daughter, the worst is yet to come, but better days are ahead. Before Zainab could ask questions, the woman walked away. When Zainab got home, the house was full of crying people. Then someone told her, "It's your father, he had an accident. He didn't survive." Zainab's word ended again. After the burial, while Zainab was still drowning in grief, Busy did the final cruelty. She sold the house. Zainab's belongings were thrown outside. "This is my father's house," Zainab cried. Busy laughed. "Permission? From you? Look at your face." Zainab begged for money. Busy threw 200 Nigerian nairas at her feet. Zainab left with nothing. Only one person remained, her grandmother Mama Ayabo, who lived far away in Uyo, Akwa Ibom. With only 200 Nigerian nairas, Zainab couldn't afford transport. She walked until she saw a truck loaded with goats. She begged the driver. He agreed. Zainab rode among goats, cold, uncomfortable, but grateful, because it was escape. In Uyo, she borrowed a POS woman's phone, called Mama Ayabo, and waited. Mama Ayabo arrived in a tricycle, hugged Zainab and cried, "My child, what have they done to you?" For the first time, Zainab felt safe. She told Mama Ayabo everything. Mama Ayabo cried until her eyes swelled. But she promised, "You will never return there again." Zainab got a small job as a restaurant waitress. Not much pay, but peace. In the evenings, she sold oranges under an umbrella in front of their house. Then life changed again. A man began to buy oranges often. Calm, gentle, respectful. His name was Tond. He never stared at her scars with disgust. He never asked rude questions. Instead he said, "Your scars don't define you." Their friendship grew. Then Tond invited her to his house. Zainab feared it, but Mama Ayabo encouraged her. "He looks like a decent man. You deserve happiness." The next day, Zainab arrived and froze. It wasn't a normal house. It was a mansion. Tond admitted it was his, but explained he wanted love, not a gold digger. Then he went on one knee. "Zainab, be my wife." Zainab cried. Yes. They married. On the wedding day, the makeup artist wanted to cover her scars heavily, but Zainab stopped her. "No. Leave them. My husband saw them and loved me. I'm not hiding anymore." Their marriage was full of joy. Months later, Zainab became pregnant. One afternoon, she craved local jollof rice, not the fancy one from chefs. Tond drove her to Item Market area in Uyo. They stopped at a POS stand to withdraw money. Then Zainab froze. The POS agent was Halima. Halima recognized her and collapsed to her knees, crying, "Zainab, please forgive me. We hurt you. I'm ashamed." Zainab asked about their lives. Halima confessed. Busy had kidney failure. They were broke, trying to raise money. Chinedu was a fraudster and had been arrested a year earlier. Amoka was struggling alone with her child. Zainab's heart softened. Despite everything, she still had humanity. She went with them to see Busy at the University of Uyo Teaching Hospital. Busy looked like a shadow, weak and thin. Doctors demanded 10 million Nigerian nairas deposit. Zainab called Tond. Tond immediately arranged everything. They moved Busy to a private hospital. The kidney transplant was done. Busy recovered gradually. One day, Busy, Amoka, and Halima all knelt down crying. Zainab held them up and said, "Stand up. I forgave you long ago." And in that moment, healing entered a family that wickedness almost destroyed. Moral lessons from this story. Jealousy turns humans into monsters. If you don't control envy, it will control you, and destroy others and you too. Wickedness always returns, sometimes with interest. People you step on today may become the ones you beg tomorrow. Silence protects abusers. The neighbors who minded their business help the evil continue. Scars don't reduce value, character gives beauty its meaning. Zainab's scars became proof of survival, not shame. Forgiveness is not weakness, it's freedom. Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe to my YouTube channel.